Good afternoon, everyone, and welcome to the Great Hall at the University of Birmingham, and welcome to everyone joining us online. Thank you very much for coming and making the effort to come here. I know at the moment in Welcome Week you all must be incredibly busy, and so taking the time and planning it to come here, it's great to have you all here. I'll quickly like to introduce myself. My name is Tam Trainer. I'm one of the Student Experience Ambassadors for the College of Social Sciences. I'm joined by two lovely members of staff who I'll be introducing in a moment. I'm currently studying international relations and I'm in my third year, so my final year, and scarily it does feel like just yesterday I was sitting where you guys are currently sitting right now. It does go by very quickly, which a lot of people will tell you quite a lot over the next week. I wanted to be the first today to congratulate everyone on the outstanding results that you've achieved in the past year or two. We all know that it wasn't easy. It hasn't been easy for a lot of people, but I can tell you now that the hard work has certainly paid off, so congratulations for getting here. Now I know so far this week and what will be the rest of the week, you've been given an awful lot of information. You'll have been sent a lot of emails and everything like that. And I'm not going to lie, and I will say that you aren't quite in the clear just yet. There will be more to come, but it is all useful and it is important, and hopefully you are getting excited about it. But today we're going to have a lovely, relaxed introduction to the College of Social Sciences, and there will be an opportunity as well throughout this session to submit questions online using details that will be displayed behind me shortly. And you can submit questions there, and myself and the other members of staff here will be answering at the very end. I would just like to introduce, we've got here Professor Richard Black, who is the Pro-Vice Chancellor of the University and Head of the College of Social Sciences, and Professor Catherine Mangan, the Director of Education. Without a further ado, I would very much like to welcome Richard Black up to the podium now to tell you about everything about the College of Social Sciences. So thank you.
So thanks, Tam. Welcome to all of you. Can I add my congratulations to you all for getting here, particularly those of you who are here in the hall, which is not so many. Not only busy, also it's a very lovely day outside, so I'm sure you don't want to be detained here for too long. And I'm sure that many people are watching us online, either right now or perhaps at their leisure. So as Tam says, I'm Richard Black. I'm the head of the College of Social Sciences. And you might ask, what is the College of Social Sciences? Well, it's the university's largest college. There's about 12,000 students in the college. It's also, I'm a bit biased here, but it's also the most interesting and exciting college in the university. About half of our students are undergraduate, another half are postgraduates. Are there any postgraduate students in the room with us? Yes, a few. Excellent. So welcome to you. That means we have quite a different feel to some of the other colleges of the university. We're in 3 buildings on campus. Hopefully you've found the right building for you already. School of Social Policy, School of Government are mostly in the Muirhead Tower. The Birmingham Business School is in University House, and School of Education is in the School of Education building, surprisingly enough. And that's where you'll find most of our academic staff, although you'll have classes all around the campus, so hopefully you'll get to see lots of different parts of this absolutely beautiful campus. And the college is, first and foremost, an academic community. I'm an academic, and we're here to make sure that the education that we deliver, and indeed the research that we do, is the highest quality it possibly can be. There are other academic communities, in particular within the college. Your school or your department, perhaps a research centre, will form the primary academic community for you. It's quite possible that you won't have very much to do with the College of Social Sciences at all. You'll be fully immersed in accounting or social work or education, whatever it is that you're here to do. But what we share across the college in all of its constituent parts is a commitment to inclusivity, to tolerance, to debate, and to innovation. So there are some things that we do at college level because it's easier. You'll almost certainly engage with the college in terms of your careers, because we do most of our career activity at college level. And by the way, it's never too early to be thinking about your career, but equally, if you don't know what you want to do next, don't worry about that right now. So you might do careers at college level, but lots of other things will be organised in the school. Another question is, what is social science? Why a College of Social Science? Everybody, in a sense, knows what a medical scientist is. They've spent the last 18 months trying to find vaccines that work against COVID. But social scientists have been busy over the last 18 months as well, trying to understand more about the politics of who should be offered a vaccine, what kind of public policy responses we can have to the pandemic, understanding the economics of different rollout policies for the vaccine, understanding how society reacts to vaccines. We've been doing all of those things on top of our day-to-day preoccupations with things like conflict, security, inclusive education, inequality, adult social care, just to name a few topics that we work on. And through that, one thing I'd really like you to take away, we don't necessarily have the answer in social science. We don't have the policy that is going to be the best policy. In the same way that maybe there is a vaccine that is the best vaccine. The truth is actually that different policies, indeed even different vaccines, can work well in different circumstances. But what we can do as social scientists, and I think this is true across the whole college, is we can help society and indeed policymakers to work out what the right questions are to be asking. And we deal with some of the biggest questions of the day, like how to level up, how to get to zero carbon, how to reduce conflict and promote democracy and accountability, or how to deliver an integrated health and social care system. And that brings me on to what will university be like for you, our new students. And a key point here again is that we are not going to pose questions to you for which there is a right and a wrong answer. Okay, if you're doing accounting or economics, there might be a few questions where there is a right or a wrong answer. But in general, a university education in the social sciences is about helping you to think. It's about putting together a coherent argument on a subject that has political, economic, or social importance. It's about exploring what the best questions might be. So with that in mind, you'll probably find that you have much less timetabled class time than you would expect. And that's because we need you to be researching, exploring. We need you to be spending time in the library or elsewhere where you can find information for yourselves and work out what those best questions are and discuss that in class. Your learning, whether you're an undergraduate or a postgraduate student, starts with you. You're in control. We're here to guide, to support, and to help. So just to conclude, a few top tips for the next few weeks and months as you become a Birmingham student. First of all, take ownership of your studies. Get organised, be ready to hit the ground running. My teenage son plays competitive sports. He tells me that success is 50% technique and 50% attitude. And I think it's the same for a university degree. Studying is 50% knowledge, but it's also 50% being ready to learn. Second thing, meet your fellow students. Those of you who have come to the Great Hall today have already started on that. You're sitting at tables, so if you don't know the people who are sitting with you, introduce yourselves. Learn from each other. Our students in the college come from the whole world. Embrace the diversity we have, learn from it, and work together. You're not in competition for a good degree. If you help each other to learn, more of you can do well. Thirdly, I really encourage you to get out and about. Birmingham is a really brilliant city, and it's on the up. Our campus is beautiful, but we're also surrounded by great parks and facilities of all kind. So if you're into football, I can see somebody is, go and watch the Villa or the Blues. If you're into theatre, catch a performance at the Mac, or go and have a drink in one of the new bars that are sprouting up all around Birmingham. There's one called the Dueling Pianos right next to where I live in central Birmingham, which looks really good. For that matter, think about going further afield as well. For example, in your second year, if you're an undergraduate student, we'll be offering both a year abroad or a semester abroad to virtually all students in this cohort. You could go and spend a year at our campus in Dubai, or a semester, or you could spend a semester or a year in a range of other universities worldwide. There'll be more information coming around through your schools about that shortly. Fourthly, get involved while you're here. Become a student rep, an ambassador like Tam, a volunteer, a mentor. Be active. That's what makes us a community. And also keep in touch with us, the staff, the college and school administrations. We want to hear if we've done well, but equally if we could do better, we want us to tell you how. We want you to tell us how. And finally, enjoy yourselves. Just as you will enjoy your time at university more if you're able to learn, also you'll learn more if you're happy. And on that note, am I going to hand over to Catherine to say a few words, or are we moving into Q&A? Straight to Q&A. Okay. Thank you very much.
Fantastic. Thank you very much, Richard. So now I've got a couple of questions coming through on here that I'll go through now. So the first one I'll relate to you guys. What would be the one thing you would recommend to increase employability chances whilst at university?
Take it. Thank you, and hello everyone. As I said, my name's Catherine Mangan. I'm Director of Education for the college, and I oversee all of the programmes across all of the schools, and including issues like employability. So as Richard said, it is never too early to think about what you might want to do when you graduate. So there are careers teams across the college in all of the schools. So I would get involved. There are potentials around things like the professional development module, which is the second year module, which offers you a work placement and a reflective approach to that, so you can start thinking about the kind of skills that you might want to develop in terms of your future careers. So I would start thinking about it, start talking to your personal tutors, to module leaders about their experience. I think start talking to people, learning from others, talk to the student ambassadors, and just get a sense of what kind of careers might be out there. So there's sort of the formal side of things, engaging with the careers teams and the careers support, but also just talking to others and getting a sense of what, might be the opportunities.
Yes, if I can just add, Tam, I think you said one thing. If there's one thing you could do, I would say that one thing is consider studying abroad. There is research evidence that shows how people who do study abroad are much more likely to go on to a career, to employment. And it's a real opportunity to experience a different culture, do something different. Looks great on your CV. So that's the one thing that I would really recommend. There are lots of other things, as Catherine has said, that you can also do, but that would be my one.
Yes.
I didn't stick to the one thing.
I would just add as my one thing as well from my personal experience. I believe Catherine briefly mentioned it, but talking to your contemporaries and your friends and things like that is so important, because I know for sure that over my time at university I spent lots of time researching and looking at different job opportunities and different things to do, but you've got to remember that your friends and other students will also be doing that. So where you might miss out on something, they might find something else that you sound more interested than they did, and you can use what basically their work to find work for yourself. So the next question would be, what advice do you have for students who are the first in their family to go to university?
Really good question. So I was in the same position as any of you who are being the first in your family. I think, again, I hope I'm not just repeating myself, but I think it's really important to create a network of friends and peers who can support you through that if you haven't got that sort of family experience. And I think as well, there's no typical student. So I think, don't in any way feel that you are at a disadvantage or you are any less because you don't come from a family who've got a background of going to university. Get involved in the societies, get involved in the clubs, be part of your departments, part of programs, and you'll just create a really strong peer support type of network. So I think, just don't view yourself as any less, or, you might just be slightly different from others, but actually every student is different. There is no such thing as a typical student anymore, and I think perhaps in the past we might have thought, this is what a typical student looks like, but that doesn't matter. So meet people, talk to people, really get that strong peer support network, and I think that will, certainly in your first year, you'll flourish, you'll grow, and you'll have a really successful and exciting university.
Yeah, I wasn't the first in my family to go to university because I have two older brothers and they made it there before me, but I was the first generation, and my advice would be the same as Catherine's: just go for it. You have every right to be here, go for it, it's your university.
Yeah, I was also not the first in my family, but what I would say is, obviously, whereas those who have got other family members who have already been to university can maybe talk to their older siblings or parents about their experience at uni for advice and support, the university itself has got such an outstanding well-being and support network that if you are the first and you're anxious about anything, you can just go directly to your well-being team or student experience officer or anyone in the college or your department, and everyone is right on hand to help you straight away with any concerns. So if you've not got someone that knows about it in your family, the university is right behind you there to support you with that.
Can I just pick up on that? So just to say, so we have got a 24-hour, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, mental health helpline. So, mental health wellbeing, anything that you want to talk about, there is somebody available at the end of the phone. So don't be anxious about talking to somebody, however small it might feel to you, there is somebody there, and we would much rather that you talk to us, earlier than sort of, have that anxiety and not talk to people. So, that's there for you, and please do use it.
Brilliant. The next question would be, how would you recommend we prepare for lectures and or seminars?
So, in terms of preparing for lectures, what you'll find is that there will be some pre-recorded material for you. So it's a really good idea to engage with that. It's normally sort of short, snippets, 10, 20 minutes. So watch that. There'll often be some ideas of questions that you might want to think about, or, questions to reflect on what you've just watched. We'll always recommend some reading. So there'll be some essential reading as part of your resource list, and then there'll be some recommended reading. So obviously we'd very much like you to do the essential reading, but reading around a subject, getting to grips with some of those, texts that aren't necessarily essential, but we're saying, it would be great if you wanted to engage with these, is a really good way of, getting yourself into a subject. So what we're doing this year is, as I say, having the pre-recorded material, which we would like you to engage with, and then in the lectures, they're going to be probably a little bit more interactive than you might imagine from the sort of definition of a lecture. So it's not necessarily just about you sitting and listening for the whole hour. It'll be more about, perhaps going over something that you've been watching, asking questions, what are you struggling with, have you got any questions? So be prepared to interact, work with your peers in the room, answer questions, just be prepared to put yourself out there. And then in seminars, there'll be much smaller groups, but again, there'll be some preparation that we'll ask you to do before coming into those seminars, and then we'll ask you to contribute. So, please feel free to talk about, to challenge, to debate. That's the point of those seminars. It's about having that debate, that academic sort of rigor about really engaging with a subject with your peers and with the tutor. So read, watch, engage, debate, I think.
And the night before, set your alarm clock.
Oh yeah, that too.
So the next question would be, how can you balance a social life, studies, potentially work, and having a good night's sleep?
That sounds like one for you,
That
Tam.
does sound like one for me. So I'm sort of in that position at the moment. So obviously I'm currently working for the university as a student ambassador. I'm in my third year currently, just about to get going with my dissertation. And obviously I've just arrived back here after summer, so I'm currently going and meeting up with lots of old friends and things like that. I think if you're a first year undergraduate and you've just started studies at university, one of my key things is, pieces of advice is, you don't need to know the answer to that question right now, because that's really what the next term is going to be about. It's about establishing, you finding what your limits are. You'll be able to identify pretty quickly how much work you can do, what you need to, what you want to prioritize with your time, who you need to go and see, and how much effort and time you need to put into your studies. It will all become quite clear, and once you've got that standing and that knowledge, you'll carry that through with you for the rest of university. So it's merely about, you've got to find the balance yourself, because everyone's different. Some people need 11 hours of sleep and lots of coffee, and some people need only 5 hours sleep and only drink tea. Everyone's student experience is completely different. But just by using this initial time right at the beginning, now being able to enjoy all the freedoms that come with, having, if you've moved into a student accommodation, or if you've got your own accommodation, you've got you control all your time now. There's no school bell to tell you where to go. Half of it now is being able to figure that out yourself, and it's not something, I could go over my personal schedule, but I'm sure there's things that I do that no one here would want to do. So it's up to you, but it will come. I can see how it might be daunting now going into it, but it will very naturally appear how it's going to come. And I think you carry those skills really with you for the rest of your life. I don't think that ever goes. And I think as you go on, you probably start to prioritize a few nights in a bit more. So the next question would be, what advice would you give for making friends? I suppose that's probably another one for me.
Yeah.
Initially. So the big key thing, I think, over Welcome Week as well, it seems to be that you get told it all the time, and you really do get told it before coming to university, when you join, and all throughout, is getting involved as much as you can. Now, obviously, everyone is different. Some people they want to just jump straight into everything and join 4 sports and 4 societies and sign up to every single event that they can possibly do, and get a job. And there are those people that really want to get involved in every way they possibly can. That is not even for me. I wouldn't want to get involved that much. But so there is different levels of involvement that you can get involved with, and it can be up to you as well. The Guild of Students here has hundreds of societies that are currently all on show with the fair there today and tomorrow, that you can go and see and see what they're all about and everything like that. There is pretty much something for everyone. I've always not been disappointed. I've always been surprised by the level of stuff there, but it's never been a disappointment. And there's always a fantastic opportunity to meet people. But if you do find at the Guild that there's not a society that you like, you can, just create a Facebook page or something like that and advertise it to other students. And if you get to meet people through that, you can then start your own society and meet even more people like that. And I would also just say, obviously there's lots of opportunities to make friends through getting involved through the university itself, through all the amazing structures that have been set up and over the years. But I can firmly remember, and I can trust that it's happening again, as it probably does every year, but the uniqueness of Welcome Week, where you can walk up to someone in the street in the Vale or in Selly Oak or wherever there's a lot of student accommodation, you can just walk up to them and immediately just start talking to them. And the likelihood is they are also a student who have been here for 3 days and have made no more friends than you have made, and is ready to make as many more. And that's how I met a good number of friends that I'm currently still good friends with now, 3 years on. So yeah, it's very easy. It's the perfect conditions to do so. So just take a hold of the opportunity, and you'll have a fantastic time with it. So the next question is, how as a student can we contribute to society?
How as a student
can we contribute to society?
Same way as anybody else can, by volunteering, by saying yes, getting involved in things. Just to give an example, I'm pretty sure that there are student political clubs on campus. So whatever your political persuasion, think about joining the club. It's a moot point about whether political parties contribute to the good of society or not, but I think collectively they do. That's what democracy is all about, and I'm a very fervent believer in that. When I first went to university, I joined a group that I forget what it's called now. It used to be called Third World First. We don't talk of the Third World now, so it's something like People and the Planet. It was a fabulous organisation. I got involved and almost immediately was involved in organising fundraising events, awareness raising events about things that were going on around the world. It felt like contributing to society. It also made me friends, going back to the previous question, and it was really enjoyable. In fact, in many respects, it set me up for the career that I've followed. So, take opportunities. People contribute to society in a whole range of different ways. I've picked out some of the ways that I think that I might have done that myself, but get involved, that's the key thing.
There are sort of formal volunteering type of opportunities within the city of Birmingham, hugely diverse city, a massive range of different things that you can do, different ways that you could contribute, but also within the university as well, so acting, student mentors, student ambassadors, like Tam is, and that's a really nice way of supporting, fellow students. So that's a sort of slightly, microcosm of society, but that's a way to contribute as well. So yeah, just seek out the opportunities and engage with them.
Yeah, it seems like quite a daunting question. It seems like assuming quite a large amount of responsibility contributing to society. But I think on a small level, you could see it as a contribution. But I guess what I would do is I quite often find myself talking, especially with members of my family and people that have long left university or never been to university or have never taken an interest in politics, as I'm a student of international relations. I quite often find myself talking to people who are interested about it and sort of relaying the knowledge and education that I've had here to anyone that is enthusiastic about it, whether they like it or not really, because they mention it and I sort of go off the rails and talk to them about it for about an hour. So no, it's I think relaying that and spreading what I would consider to be an important subject, and also just spreading the education informally with just friends and family is probably quite a good thing, because I know a lot of people learn a lot of things, which is quite rewarding, but I suppose quite a good contribution to society. The next question is, postgraduate students have only 1 year at the university. How can we utilise it in the best possible manner? So that's obviously full-time masters.
I was probably the similar message about getting involved. There's a lot of postgraduate students here. There's a really vibrant society of postgraduate students. So really take the opportunity. Find all of those ways that you can get involved, whether that's the societies, really engage with your department, with your discipline, with your module leaders. I know it probably goes very quickly, but actually, because you're on a master's program, you're really looking at something, you know, in depth. So really getting to grips with that subject. And I think, you know, you've got a great opportunity through the dissertation to really engage with something that you're passionate about. So certainly I would say from my own subject that I teach, the students who do really well are those who do something that they are really interested in for that dissertation, and in a way they start thinking about that right up front. So they sort of look at all of their studies throughout the year through the lens of what do I really want to look at for that big sort of, you know, set piece at the end. So I would certainly have an idea of what you're passionate about and hold on to that through your year.
Also, most departments or research centres will have something like a research seminar. Might happen every week, might be every fortnight, might be more occasional than that. It would be relatively unusual for an undergraduate student to go to a department's research seminars, but not unusual at all for a master's student to go. And that's going to be the core of the intellectual life of that department, your department, or the centre that you might be affiliated with. So I'd really encourage you to go to those seminars, interact directly with staff and researchers outside a formal class setting. That's where we'll, you know, be taking discussions to kind of a higher level of knowledge that hopefully you'll find both fascinating and good for your own careers. So I'd really encourage you to get involved in those.
So the next question is, the British education system is something really new for some international postgraduate students, and I suppose international undergraduate students as well. How can we acclimatise to it in a short period of time?
Well, certainly there are sessions throughout Welcome Week to support you to meet others and to try and understand, you know, get your head around this. I mean, I guess it's about talking to your, you know, personal tutors, talking to the other students who are on the programs about it. I mean, it may feel daunting and a bit of a mystery, but I guess once you're here and experiencing it, you know, you'll pretty easily get to grips with it. So I think, you know, just ask questions. Don't sit in silence. If you're really struggling with something, if it doesn't make sense at all why we do something in the way we do it, if you don't understand, you know, how we're going to sort of mark your assignments or why we've got a school and a college, just ask. I think, you know, in the first few weeks there is there is never a stupid question, is there? You know, so just ask people, you know, why are you doing it like that? Why do we do it like that? How do I do this? Honestly, you know, please just ask. Don't sit and worry about things. Just ask the question and somebody will help you with it.
Also, I think it's fair to say if you're coming from somewhere else in the world onto an undergraduate degree, you will probably find that the British students here are also experiencing something of a shift moving from school to university. So the shift may be different, but they will be experiencing something similar to you. If you're coming here to a master's degree and you're integrating into a class where there are students who've studied at a British university already, or indeed studied at the University of Birmingham already, those students are a huge resource for you. Talk to them because they're the ones who know how it works. They can tell you more about it.
So next question is, what advice would you give to doing well in your degree? Which is quite broad.
If you have an exam, answer all the questions. Answer the number of questions that you are asked to answer. The number one reason why students fail exams is because there are 3 questions that you've got to answer, and you only answer 2. And what that means is, however well you answer the first question, you can't possibly get more than 2/3 of the total marks, and you're quite likely to do very poorly. I'm slightly joking, and actually we've moved away from exams. Quite a bit of your assessment will not be in the form of exams, but that point of sticking on topic, doing, you know, I'd said in my introduction, we won't ask you questions to which there is a straight answer. So you do have to be a little bit more discursive at university level. But if a question is set, or a topic is set, stick to the topic, marshal the evidence on that topic, not on something else. That's the number one way to get a better degree result, or at least to avoid a disastrous degree result.
I suppose one of the things I would say is, so you'll get an opportunity to practice in terms of assessment. So, we won't throw an exam at you or a sort of 4,000 word assignment at you without having given you an opportunity to practice that. So do, engage with that, and then try and get to grips with the feedback. So when you've got the feedback, try and understand, what it's pointing you towards in terms of what you could have done differently. Talk to the module leads about the feedback, engage with the discussions in group tutorials about how you use feedback, because that's the way that academics sort of are saying to you, this is how you can improve. So that's really, really important, and that will build over time. So if you act on that feedback and you take that all into account, then you will progress and you will improve. And I think as well, just say that I know, assessment time is really anxiety-inducing, but try not to get overly anxious about assessments. There is a huge amount of support. We have, assessment support opportunities that will give you an opportunity to, do past papers, to develop academic skills. So there's a huge amount of support out there for you. So, if the first couple you don't get the kind of marks that you're used to, don't panic, but just engage with the kind of feedback that we're giving you and ask, well, how can I do better next time? What do I need to do differently? Do I need to read sort of, more widely around the topic? What were you expecting from me? So really engage with that and ask questions so that you can improve as you go through.
Yeah, I would probably just say, from my experience, is it sounds really simple, and it sounds, I know I heard it hundreds of times before even joining university, but make sure you've read the question, whatever the question may be. Just make sure you've read it 3 times and really thought about it, because the wording is incredibly important, and it can define, especially if you're running thousands of words on it. You want to make sure you've got the right subject, and you're going on the right course with it. So make sure you've read the question, and that's fine. The other thing as well I would just probably mention is, don't let anything that sort of is unfair or unexpected that comes across in your life over the next 3 years or 1 year or however long you're planning to stay at university. Any unforeseen things that come along, you're not expected to sort of deal with it by yourself. If everything suddenly goes wrong one day, and you've got an essay or an exam in 2 weeks later, and it's obvious that it's going to massively impact on that, the university wouldn't just ignore that. If you get in touch, there is such a wonderful amount of support, and so if the second you feel that if something is starting to compromise or stress you out too much or compromise your education, just talk to the university about it, and if they agree, then they'll ensure that doesn't affect how well you do in your degree, and they'll work with you to make sure that you do well in your degree. So the big thing is just always talk to the university. If you ever need any support, you're very much not by yourself in it. They're there to help with you.
Yeah, I guess just to underline that. So we are here to help you do well. We want you to do well. So please, engage with us, and so that we can help you to fulfill your potential.
So the next question is, what should a master's student keep in mind if they want to enroll in a PhD course?
So the first thing to say is that the vast majority of our master's students don't go on to do PhDs. We run a range of master's degrees. Many of them are orientated at professional careers of one kind or another. if you do want to do a PhD, I mean, so I did a PhD, a very rewarding experience. What got me through my PhD was that I had a really genuine intellectual interest in the thing that I was studying. So actually, that to me is the key thing. Don't feel at all that you need to do a PhD, but if you latch onto something that you find really interesting, and I did actually as an undergraduate student, I latched onto an area where I thought this is totally fascinating. I want to understand more about this. And I had a couple of inspiring tutors who talked to me about that and encouraged me to develop my ideas. So I think, for me, the most important thing is if you're thinking about a PhD, it needs to be around a topic that you will find fascinating, where there is a researchable question where you could contribute to knowledge. And you develop that in conversation with others, most likely with tutors. Although bear in mind those might be tutors here, but they could also be tutors in other universities. The world of academia is a relatively small one, and often in the specialist areas that we work in, there are networks across different universities where the ideas are being developed.
So the next question is, what's the difference between a lecture and a seminar?
Do you want me to pick that? So I touched on this a little bit earlier. So I guess the key differences are the size and the level of interaction. So our large lectures here will be a mixture of discussion, debate about questions, and also talking from the front. Whereas the seminars are smaller groups and very much debate and discussion, engaging with reading what you've watched that week. So that's where you get into much more sort of detail and sort of critical analysis of a particular topic. So size and level of debate, I guess, are the two key differences, and they are designed to sort of complement each other. So you can't really sort of just decide, well, I'm just going to go to the seminars or I'm just going to go to the lectures. The way that our sort of approach to teaching is designed is that they flow from each other and reinforce each other.
A lecture works if the lecturer is well prepared, but a seminar works if all of the students are well prepared. That, for me, is the key difference.
So next question is, how does the work or study abroad work? So I suppose, how does the year in industry or study abroad scheme work?
It's slightly different in each school, and obviously some of your programs will have the opportunity to do a year in industry, particularly in the business school programs. So again, talk to your program leads, talk to the careers network in those schools. And then, as Richard said earlier, so we're going to offer all students the opportunity to take a semester abroad. So again, that's just about engaging. Ask your personal tutor, I'm interested in this, I'd like to apply for it. It's different in each school, so I don't want to explain the process and get it wrong for some of you, but just ask your personal tutor's probably the best port of call if you express an interest. Some of them are, you have to get a particular sort of, mark to go, so you have to sort of qualify. Others are open opportunities, and anyone that's interested can go. And I would encourage you to do it. As Richard said, it's a really great thing to do. It looks really good on the CV, and personal development-wise, it's a fantastic opportunity.
So is the level of difficulty in an undergraduate degree a big jump from A-level, and how long will it take to see improvements in exams and in our assignments?
Do you want to take that?
Yeah. So I suppose obviously it depends person to person, obviously what A-levels you've done and what degree you're doing. in my case, it was I'd done politics A-level and then moved on to doing international relations. So it was already something that I was familiar in a sort of learning environment, talking about that sort of topic. If you've moved on to an entirely new thing that isn't covered at A-level or anything like that, I wouldn't be concerned, because if it's a topic where they know that there isn't that much covered at A-level, they're not going to expect you to already know that sort of level of content. So if you're moving to something that's new and you haven't done the relevant A-levels, or those A-levels don't exist, that won't be too much of a don't put that off. Don't let that put you off. Don't let that stress you out too much. You've just got to, if you just follow the curriculum and go as you are, then it will be absolutely fine. I think in terms of assignments, one of the biggest things, in my subject at least, I've done the vast majority of all my assessments have been essays and home written essays and things like that. The biggest jump would probably be the different style of writing, and obviously referencing, and just a few different elements of academic writing at university. It's more, if you spend the next sort of term, what it's really about is finding your academic writing style. It's not too much of an issue depending on what grade you get for this first term. It's because obviously there's going to be a bit of a learning gap. There'll be a bit of a knowledge gap that will obviously be fixed over time at university. But the writing style and the difference, the different way of doing things at a university level, that's what you address and that's what you learn in your first term of university. So I would definitely advise to any students that had gotten A stars and A's at A level, or any other equivalent high grades at equivalent qualifications, to arrive at university, if those grades aren't matching the same level of success that you were seeing at A level, that doesn't mean that what you're writing is bad. That doesn't mean that what you're contributing is not the quality that it needs to be, or that your knowledge is subpar. It's merely a case of you've just got to learn to put the squares in the square holes and the circles in the circled holes, and getting it right as to how it's supposed to be written at an academic level. And from a knowledge perspective, as I said, if you just follow the curriculum and ask for help when needed, there's a lot of help. You can go to office hours to see your lecturers and things like that whenever you need the assistance. You shouldn't find it too much of a bridge in terms of knowledge to tackle, especially first year. It's sort of, it's a snowball effect. Once you've got the knowledge in first year, you'll be able to do second year, and once you've done that, you'll be able to do your dissertation in third year. But it's more just have confidence in yourself, have confidence that with time it'll, that jump that you might be perceiving on day one, that jump will become a lot shorter. It's just about building the confidence and the experience to allow you to make that jump, and then you'll be there very quickly. And it's all about confidence, and you'll find it very soon. So it is a little bit of a jump, but you'll be absolutely fine. And the university is here. That's exactly what the university does. It is taking you over that jump. That's the exact point of the university.
We do have academic skills support. So there's an academic skills centre. There's a huge amount of resources online, particularly support around how do I do referencing. So there's everything is there for you. And as Tam says, just ask. Go to office hours. The other thing I would say as well is read academic journal articles, because there's nothing better to get you into that sort of academic way of writing than reading academic pieces of writing. So find something that interests you and read as much as you can, because it just gets you in that sort of style of the kind of way of writing that is expected.
So this question is, what's the one piece of advice you would have for us before we start our courses next week?
Have fun.
I was going to say enjoy yourselves. Yeah, enjoy yourselves, meet as many people as you possibly can, and try different things, because you never know, you might like it. I joined the choir in the first week of university, and I'd never sung before, and now I can't get enough of it. So try different things. Sorry, that's more than one, but anyway.
yeah, I would just say don't stress and just enjoy Welcome Week and enjoy the start of term when it comes as well. Just get involved with everything you want to, and yeah, just have fun. It's the best fun that you'll have so far, so enjoy it. Okay, I think that's the end of the
We
Q&A.
should end on that one, shouldn't we? That's a good one to end on.
Good one.
Enjoy the sunshine this afternoon, everyone.
I hope that Q&A with all the questions and advice there was helpful to you all. And you obviously heard from Richard with all of his kind words. And everything that will be in store for your time here at University of Birmingham. And I hope you feel well prepared, and the rest of Welcome Week, be it online or whether you're with us at the campus, will prepare you very well. Thank you for everyone that submitted those questions. If there's any questions that we didn't get to address, then they will be dealt with separately. And so enjoy the rest of Welcome Week. It is a fantastic time. I'm very jealous. I do miss it. And especially, whatever course or whatever point of entry you're joining us now. To be here means you are some of the brightest brains in the country. It is a phenomenal achievement, so well done, as I've already said. But you do have to remember just to be ready for anything. Joining university, growing up, life will start to throw things at you. There'll be a few curveballs, and that will happen over the next few years. As a little spoiler, there will be something. But you've got to remember that the university and the friends that you're making this week will be right there behind you to support you with it all. If my personal experience is anything to go by, I can almost guarantee you that the people you meet this week and over the next month and the learning experiences, not necessarily all academic nor easy, but they will all define you as a person and what you will become. And when you eventually reach my position that I'm in now, going into my final year, you'll be able to look back, as I do, with pride and confidence at your time at university, and look forward to your final year as well, as I am. So good luck with the rest of your time here, and thank you very much for coming today and joining us online if you're online. And yes, I'd just like to be the last one to say welcome to the University of Birmingham. Thank you very much.